Hello, my beautiful creatives, and welcome back to my art channel. My name is Chrissie B, and I'm a creativity coach, hoping to inspire you to live a more creative life every day. Well, today we're going to break a blank journal page, and this is one of my favorite ways to do this, and that is through using different book pages. I have all different kinds of books. I have a French to English dictionary. I have a hymnal that I found at an estate sale. I have a Webster's dictionary. I think I even have an encyclopedia and some comic book pages. Really, any pages that you find are really super helpful in this technique. I find my books everywhere. Usually I find them at garage sales or estate sales. I get them very inexpensively. And I take a bunch of torn pages and I stick them in this envelope so they're always kind of at the ready to go. So to get started on this very simple page, I am going to select a few pages. I have some music sheet here, some dictionary, some encyclopedia, some math book, and some pages from a novel. And I just have more at the ready whenever I need it, just by pulling some more out of either one of my books or out of my little bag o' scraps. After selecting my scraps of book papers for this layout, I really like to take all of the edges, the cut edges of these pages, and I like to make sure that they are all raw edges for the most part. So I will just tear down all of the areas where there's a straight edge. You can leave them cut. You just get a different look than if you tear them. I prefer them torn because they have a tendency to blend together a little better and blend into the background a little bit better, versus if you leave the papers cut, then they have a hard line to them. So it just really depends. It's personal preference. Sometimes I leave them cut, sometimes I leave them torn. It just really depends. On this page today, I'm going to leave them torn. I pulled out my matte medium because that's how I'm going to adhere these down to my paper and down to my art journal. You can use decoupage or glue or any type of adhesive that you want. I've even used glue stick in the past. It really just depends on what you're going to put on top of the pages, because really this is just a way to break the blank page. This is not necessarily the entire journal in its entirety. So it really just depends. I am using matte medium. It's kind of my go-to. I'm going to be adhering this down using a flat brush. I try to make sure that the brush that I select for using matte medium or glue of some sort, I always make sure that that is a different brush than my regular paint brushes, because the glue is really hard on your brushes, and sometimes if you don't clean them well enough, and sometimes even if you do, they actually will harden up on themselves. So I try really hard to make sure that these are like the inexpensive brushes that I don't really like put a lot of money into, because I don't want to ruin them. So all I have to do to get these pages to adhere down is I take some of my matte medium and I put a thin coat on the journal where I'm going to lay the piece of paper. I lay the piece of paper down onto it, and then I take a very thin layer of gel medium and put over the top of that. Now, matte medium, gel medium, I think I'm saying those interchangeably. I think they're the same thing. My bottle says matte medium, but yeah, I know you can get gel mediums. They're a little bit thicker. Matte medium works just fine. And I'm just going to keep putting my papers down in every order, in every which way that I want to. I generally prefer to have my text either straight side to side or straight up and down. I'm not sure why that is, that's just the way that my brain works, that I like it that way. And I'm going to keep layering pieces of paper, overlapping each other, sometimes completely covering a piece of paper underneath. Just really, you can do this however you want. And I love this particular one because I love the comic books. I love the colors of the comic books. Another thing that I want to make note of rather quickly for you is when you're selecting your papers to put underneath whatever your art journal, your art journal spread is actually going to be, make sure you are aware of what the words say. I try to be very careful to not put things that are negative, or, I remember, I say this story a lot, but I'm going to tell you again. One of my very first art canvases that I had ever done, I was so proud of it. I had done the whole background in paper, book paper, and I was so proud of it because it was so gorgeous, and it ended up having like this cute little girl face on it and had a positive sentiment on it, and I loved it so much that I took it to work and I hung it in my cubicle at work. Well, I'm not sure what happened, but a couple weeks later I was on a phone call or something, and I remember looking up and actually reading some of the book text that was kind of peeking through the color on the background, and I unintentionally put a gruesome murder scene in the pages that I had selected. The book that I had selected my pages from had like a gruesome murder scene on it, and so it really bothered me because I had this cute little girl's face and it had this positive message, and then if you look like subconsciously it had this negativity. So I'm always very careful to make sure that I am aware of what my background papers are saying. That's true for comics. I know that I really like using the Archie comics because I really like the colors. There's a lot of snarky, sometimes not very nice kind of jokes in it. And that's okay sometimes. I just want to make sure that I'm aware of that. So keep that in mind. Essentially, I'm just playing. If you see, I just keep layering, and you kind of know when a page is done. You end up learning how to tell that intuitively. Like the page kind of tells you, okay, I'm done. When you're a new art journaler, you may not be able to tell that. I would love to tell you that I try to keep some restraint in my art journaling and like keep white paper showing. That's not always true. That's not always a forte for mixed media artists. Restraint, that is. So just kind of play it by ear, and as you become a more proficient art journaler and you do this more often and you have more practice under your belt, you'll end up finding your own style, and you'll know for yourself when an art journal page is finished or not. When you first start, you may kind of go overboard, or you may go way underboard. That's how I kind of started. I went way underboard. I didn't put enough on my page. But you'll learn as you get practicing, and as you get playing, you'll learn. Just don't be too hard on yourself. This is all supposed to be fun. This is really truly supposed to be art journaling, which is not only a healing process, but it's also a fun process. So take it for what it is and just think of it as play. You're a kindergartner, put your kindergartner hat on and just play. No rules, no judgment, no shame, no blame. I think this page is getting close to being done. I'm actually just kind of overlapping a few more things. At this point, I'm just kind of keeping track of like colors that are popping to the forefront, and maybe I need to have more white space, or maybe I want to have more color. And so that's how I'm kind of deciding what pages go, what piece of paper go up higher on the background. And really that's all art journaling is. It's just layering different techniques over the top of each other. That's the beauty of this break the page process, is that you can learn 1 or 2 or 3 break the page processes, and you can actually add them all together. You can do them on top of each other, and you can even add them on top of each other and repeat those layers over and over again. And that's how you get depth in your art journal backgrounds. And I think this is my last piece of paper. I'm only adding this not because I feel like I need it, but because it's such a small scrap. I don't want to throw it away, and I don't want to stick it back in my little plastic bag. So I'm just going to adhere it down, and we are ready for the next step. At this point, I'm just going to let this completely dry. Now that it is dry, I have pulled out some white gesso and a palette knife, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to scrape a very thin layer over the whole spread. The reason I do that is because it kind of ties all of the pieces of random paper together. It kind of unifies them and gives them kind of, I don't know, it makes them all feel like it might be one cohesive layer versus a bunch of little pieces of paper that you put together. And there's really no right or wrong way to do this. I like to scrape it, my gesso rather thin, so I can actually see all the different textures. Those textures to me are why I do the book pages, because they're so much fun and they're so easy to do. But really the gesso also pushes this layer back a little bit. So if you want to put something on top of it, it kind of visually gives your eye a rest so that you can keep going on top of this particular spread. Once you're done with this layer, don't forget to clean off your palette knife with a baby wipe or something so that you don't leave any gesso on your palette knife. It will ruin your palette knife. But there you have it. It's a very easy peasy, simple way to break a page. I hope that you enjoyed this. Don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe. I love you, and I appreciate you watching every single day. Until next time, bye for now.